Yes, so a pleasant good evening, guys. Let me say, of course, a pleasant good evening to our social media followers. Yours truly, Dr. Jason Batson, the Senior Medical Director at Batson and Associates, where we support your health naturally. Of course, we would have mentioned at some point in time that tonight we're actually going to be discussing fibroids and polycystic ovarian syndrome. Polycystic ovaries continues to be a serious issue that is faced by a number of women, I mean, all over the world, quite rampant in Trinidad and Tobago, especially among very young women. So that's something that we're going to be touching on tonight. We're going to be really talking about what is polycystic ovaries, what are some of the symptoms or the symptomology associated with polycystic ovaries, what do we at Batson and Associates do to assist women who may have polycystic ovarian syndrome, who may be diagnosed with things like fibroids, endometriosis, and the like. So, keep in mind that we are live on our social media platforms. We are Batson and Associates Limited on Facebook. On Instagram, we are Batson and Associates TT. On YouTube, we are Batson and Associates Trinidad, and on TikTok, we are Batson and Associates. Let me say, of course, a pleasant good evening to Miss It's Natasha Phillips. She says, blessed night, Dr. Batson. Kyle Thomas, a pleasant good night to you. Miss Maureen Tall, good evening to you. Miss Sonia John, good evening to you as well. Right. Miss Grace Williams, good evening to you as well. So, we know this session is question and answer, of course. So, keep in mind that if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask. I will try my best to answer as much as possible within the time frame that we have. Even though we're discussing polycystic ovarian syndrome, fibroids, endometriosis, we're going to touch on those. The thing is, when you look at hormonal imbalance in women, you find that with hormonal imbalance in women, you find that it is usually an indication of severe, painful menstrual cycle. In some instances, you have an irregular cycle. In some instances, you have spotting. So your cycle may be for 7 days, but subsequent to the 7 days, you might be spotting for 8 or 10 days. All those are indications of hormonal challenges that women face, young women. Then, of course, you have, because I don't want to stray too much, but of course, you have the aspect of postmenopausal syndrome, where you have much older women who actually may be seeing blood. They might, and when I say that, women who have gone through menopause a long, long time ago, and they are, advanced in age, 60s, 70s, even 80s, and they might see blood. That might be a cause for concern. So it's those are some of the things we're going to look at. Even as it relates to when women have their pap smears done, because the thing is, women, for some reason, are under the perception that even though you pass the stage of menopause, that, well, that's it. Hormones, for some reason, no longer exist. But you have to understand that your hormones play a vital role in your survival and your existence until death. So once you are alive, hormonal balance is very important. And if you have hormonal imbalance, they can cause problems throughout your life. Keep that in mind. Let me say, of course, a pleasant good evening to Miss Felicia James, Miss Pam Powell. Good night. She's listening to us from London. Pleasant good evening to you. And of course, I'm going to give you our telephone numbers and locations. Uh, we have someone here. It's NCS 1982. She says, hi, what can be used for effective weight loss with PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome, recently diagnosed with fibroids also? Okay, that's a good question. The thing is, you usually find women who are diagnosed with polycystic PCOS usually, or in some instances, may have a problem with weight gain. Now, you have to remember that estrogen plays a significant role in polycystic ovarian syndrome, especially in overweight women. You often find that with that hormonal imbalance, you also have a problem with insulin as well, because usually women who are slightly overweight or overweight with polycystic ovarian syndrome usually are pre-diabetic. Now, usually, not all the time or in all instances are they diabetic. However, there are instances where diabetes or pre-diabetes has been linked to PCOS. So it's very important to understand the relationship there. Okay. Miss Crystal Moore, good evening to you. She says, always a pleasure to listen. Thank you so very much. So, when you're looking at hormonal imbalance, to begin with, remember the key aspect of the human body is to do one thing, to maintain homeostasis, equilibrium, balance. Good. Now, if you're out of balance, so if you have either too much of something or too little of something, it means that you are going to be in a situation where the body is not going to be functioning the way that it should. So we have a lot of persons who are estrogen dominant. And because of these high levels of estrogen, which is a hormone that women need in a certain amount, but when you have it in excess, it means that you are now considered to have excess estrogen, and excess estrogen plays a significant role in fat composition in the body, how your body actually digests or how your body metabolizes fat. It can play a significant role as it relates to your menstrual cycle. It could also play a significant role as it relates even to fertility. So that's something that you need to pay very, very close attention to. So one of the first things that you need to do is know if you have polycystic ovarian syndrome or not. Now, what you realize with a lot of women, and that's why you have things like your pap smears, you have your abdominal pelvic ultrasound, which is something that a female could do maybe every 2 or 3 years. You could do an abdominal pelvic ultrasound, especially if you have a history of polycystic ovaries, fibroids, ovarian cysts, endometriosis. If you have a history of a very painful menstrual cycle, an irregular menstrual cycle, then obviously common sense should dictate that you do some sort of check regularly in order to, if there is a problem, actually deal with the problem. And that's the issue with a lot of women, because you find women who end up with endometriosis, adenomyosis, issues where they may have gotten pregnant and ended up with things like ectopic pregnancies, where you have issues where that actually is lodged in the fallopian tube, and of course that could actually cause the fallopian tube to rupture, and in some instances that entire tube has to be removed. So there are a number of things that you need to pay very, very close attention to. Mr. Kyle Thomas asked, why does it seem to occur more often in women of African descent? That's actually a very good question. You find things like polycystic ovarian syndrome, fibroids, endometriosis, hormonal imbalance is quite prevalent, sorry, in women of African descent, because women of African descent tend to do a lot of hair treatments as compared to their other ethnicities. So women of African descent would tend to straighten their hair, which is some sort of relaxers. They would use some gels and these different types of hair treatments. In some cases, with the wigs and whatever, you have particular types of glues and all these things. Remember, anything that you put on your scalp goes into your bloodstream, right? And anything that goes into the human body could either affect it in a positive or a negative way. Always keep that in mind. So women of African descent, because of the amount of things that they usually do to their hair, in terms of the styling and the straightening and the jerry curls and all those type of things, and this has been scientifically proven, that a lot of the chemicals in those products interfere with your hormones. They actually have serious, serious consequences on hormonal balance in the body. So hence the reason why women of African descent tend to have higher instances or issues with fibroids. It's not that they are the only ones, but if you look at women of African descent as compared to their other ethnicities, Asians, Caucasians, women of East Indian ancestry, that type of thing, you find that they would have, but not as prevalent as us. And that is the reason for it. Okay, so ladies, you like to take care of yourself, you like to have your hair looking nice and whatever the case may be. But keep in mind that anything you put on your skin has a consequence. Anything. So you all also need to be careful with things like creams. I think in this modern world that we live in with so much information, I think a lot of people are aware now of things like deodorants and antiperspirants. You need to be careful. A lot of these things have aluminum in them. We have more stringent measures now with the FDAs and different organizations that now make it mandatory that these companies now have to actually put what is on the labels, and they're making them more responsible. Some things are being banned and whatnot, but still, you need to be very careful because there are a number of things that are still out there that could cause a number of problems. So that's something to keep in mind. Let me say a pleasant good evening to Miss Marcia Letrin, Miss Pamela Moses, Miss Nicola Hood, who is messaging us Miss Cindy Hoyt. She says, good evening, Doc and team. Happy and healthy Sunday, everyone. Same to you. Miss Sonia John. She says, I use castor oil on my skin, period. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Miss Pamela Moses says, Doc, why don't you have any Sunday morning programs? Because we go to ballroom dancing on Sunday night, so I miss your program. Okay, we actually would be resuming those programs in a short. We're actually changing some things as regards to the schedule of programs and the way we're doing programs in the very near future. So it's not that we have gone completely, but we are here still, but we'll be just making some changes. So stay tuned, and of course, we'll let you all know via our social media exactly what we're doing and when those programs are on. Okay, Miss Uta Young, a blessed night to you. Miss Trisha Hamilton Jack, she says good night from Brooklyn. Good. So that is what you're looking at when you're looking at polycystic ovaries. The interesting thing is that we have a lot of young women now that have problems with polycystic ovarian syndrome. Before, it was women who were much older. Fibroids is becoming more and more prevalent in persons who are teenage, 14, 15, 16 years. You have young women with polycystic ovarian syndrome, painful menstrual cycle. Some of these young ladies can't even go to school. They can't go to school because of how painful these menstrual cycles are. So again, it's very important, ladies, to pay attention to yourself. Do your regular checks. We're going to talk about diet in a little while as regards to how does diet affect that. The chicken lovers, chicken has a lot of hormones, a lot. The meat. Now you need to be careful what you're using, ask your questions, do your research, and know exactly what you're eating, because a lot of what we eating now actually putting us in the problems that we are in. Right? A lot of persons say that you do have much choices or healthy choices. I do believe that. You just have to look a little more. It may be a little more expensive or a little more on the pricier side. But when you look at it in its totality, it's better to take care of yourself now than to wait for those issues to actually get worse. Good. Keep in mind you're listening to Dr. Jason Batson, the Senior Medical Director at Batson and Associates, where we support your health naturally. Let me, of course, give you our telephone numbers and locations. We are located on the first floor of Money Talks Building. That is Money Talks Building in Montrose, Chaguanas. That telephone number is 222-8261. That's 222-8261. St. James is Red Edge Mall, Western Main Road, St. James. That number for St. James is 220-8113. Again, that's 220-8113. Debe, of course, is the corner of Ramsey Wood Trace and the SS Erin Main Road in Debe. The number for Debe is 223-7515. That's 223-7515. And Tobago is the Triangle Building in Scarborough, Tobago. That number for Tobago is 226-4553. That's 226-4553. Okay, Miss Trisha Hamilton Jack says, I tried your blood pressure tea and the blood circulation tea together with my regular workouts, and I have seen a difference with my blood pressure. Thank you. You're very welcome. She said it was shipped to me and everything went well. Good. Miss Cindy Hoy says, Doc, my ranking dropped from 1 to 3. Not good. Um, this is this some kind of conspiracy? Something's up with the notifications. The thing is with Facebook, I'm trying to understand this notification things, but based on what my IT people have told me, is that sometimes, the notifications, especially during recent time, apparently there's something with it. So I don't believe it is something that we will rectify in due time. So again, just keep in touch or stay tuned as regards to where we will give you that kind of situation after. Okay, so that's something we're gonna pay close attention to. Miss Betty Phillip, good evening. Dr. Batson, a pleasant good evening to you. Miss Sharon Hill, good evening to you as well. Good. So you heard from yourself from Miss Hamilton, Jack, as regards to the blood pressure tea, sorry, and blood circulation tea. A lot of new teas coming very shortly for you guys. I tell people I'm a huge advocate of tea, good quality tea that is, because of how many things teas have in them. Teas, have tannins, they have a number of things. There's a product we carry at Batson and Associates, which is quite popular, and we use it a lot with women who have problems with painful menstrual cycle, hormonal challenges, and that type of thing, as it relates to things like polycystic ovarian syndrome, fibroids, endometriosis, and the like. Because in those particular situations, we find that that woman's formula actually helps to address that situation as it relates to balancing your hormones. Let me say again too as well, there's a question as regards to endometriosis. What is endometriosis? So very quickly, endometriosis is thickening of the endometrium or the uterine lining. Now, that uterus lining there is usually is usually uh, it usually has a particular thickness. Now, if it becomes thicker than it's supposed to, then it's going to cause problems. You're going to find your menstrual cycle is very poor. You find your menstrual cycle is going to be very painful. You also find instances where the menstrual cycle is actually, in some cases, delayed. So it might become irregular because of that excess thick lining there. Now, the thing with that lining is, remember, that lining is not supposed to be as thick. So because of that, it means one, oxygen and blood circulation to that area is going to be compromised. And as a result of that now, it makes it more difficult for you to be healthy in that area. So what you essentially have is a lot of inflammation or inflammatory response in that particular area. Good. Miss Betty, no, Miss Cindy Hoyt says, Honey Bay, my darling, please report for class, just in case you didn't get the notification for tonight. Okay. I'm sure she will join us very soon. Miss Stacyan Fornilier, she says, during the ovulation time, I experienced one light period for 2 days. During that ovulation time, I experienced a light period for 2 days. My teenage daughter. The thing is, as I said, what you need to do is these young ladies, mothers, and well, if you're a single parent or whatever the case may be, you need to start to ask your daughters questions, because a lot of things go on with these children and you don't know. So questions you're supposed to be asking your children, especially teenage daughters, you're supposed to be looking at their water intake. A lot of these young women don't drink sufficient amounts of water. A lot of them have serious bowel issues where they have a lot of constipation, a lot of problems, with flatulence, gas, bloating. So they have serious gastrointestinal problems. Some of these young ladies go to the washroom once a week. And it's only when they're in our offices and I am questioning them, or they're being questioned by a consultant in front of the parents, is then the parents realize, but wait, is all this going on with you? And these are people who living on their roof. So parents, mothers, you need to be a little more diligent with your daughters. Ask questions, pay attention to their health in terms of what they eat, and most importantly, the amount of water that they drink. Some sort of cleansing and detoxification is needed. Uh, Someone was asking, Miss Crystal Moore is asking about Santulan, if it is in stock. Santulan is, we do not have Santulan in stock now, and that is actually a serious issue that we're dealing with. It's just a matter of, well, we have dot our I's and cross our T's there, but Trinidad is a very interesting place. So we're getting it done, we're getting it sorted out, and very soon that is a problem that we would not have again, I guarantee you. Right? You're just working as regards to certain things, and we're going to have those products for you back in stock. Things like your Nerve Restore, your Cerebral Formula, Women's Formula. We have in stock Balance Circulation. We have in stock the teas, which became very popular because of how effective they are. That is something that we're working on, and the good thing about it, we're going to have a lot more different types of teas very soon, and we're going to have it in different. So you're going to have tea bags, you're going to have wild crafted teas, different things, very good formulations too as well. That circulation regeneration tea is going to be coming back even stronger because of its ingredient profile, especially as it relates to people who have problems with blood pressure, elevated blood pressure levels. Okay, so very shortly we'll have those for you. Let me say again a pleasant good evening to our listeners. You're listening to Dr. Jason Batson, the Senior Medical Director at Batson and Associates, where we support your health naturally. This afternoon or this evening rather, we are discussing polycystic ovarian syndrome, fibroids, hormonal imbalance in women. So if you have any questions regarding any health issue or the products and services, and all those of you who are asking about products, as I said, whatever product you may need, which we do not have in stock, call the office and let them know, and we will ensure that when we get, you will get yours. I'm sure you all heard about the situation with customs in Trinidad. There are a lot of persons who are having some issues with them. We're actually clearing up that so that we assure you that when we finish, believe me, it's not our fault. It's not our fault at all, but it's not like you're trying to blame anyone, but the authorities need to do their job on time, and once that is done, then we would not have a problem. So that's something that we're working assiduously on. Okay, Miss Ishona Cyrus says, when would Tobago receive theirs? Tobago will receive theirs stock this month, God's willing. What we do have, you're going to get, and then what we are awaiting, you all will get when we get that as well. Okay, because with Tobago, we actually did a lot of work on our new offices. We had some things that we need to clarify or fix as regards to our internet, our electricity, that type of thing, because you'll be getting your foot detox and those various services that we have there as well. Honeybee says, thank you. Pleasant good night. Good night to you, Honeybee. Miss Pearl Prasad says, good night to you, Dr. Batson. Do have a blessed night. God bless you always in doing a great job. Nice to see you. Same to you. Thank you very much, Miss Pearl Prasad. Okay, good. Donna Gani saying, good night. My 9-year-old daughter doesn't get regular bowel movement. What can cause that? Okay, the thing is, any child who has issues with their bowels, the thing is, first of all, remember, bowel movement is a central nervous system function. That is actually part of your autonomic nervous system, sympathetic, parasympathetic. I can't remember um, which one it is exactly, but I know it is part of the autonomic nervous system. So it means that it is a central nervous system function. So do the homework as regards to your child. Are they drinking sufficient amounts of water? We know the rule for water. A 9-year-old child should be drinking sufficient amounts of water. The body weight divided by 2 in ounces is the amount of water they should drink. Also look at the fiber intake of that child. What is fiber? So you have soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. So when we're looking at fiber, if we talk about things like your fruits, your vegetables, your nuts, your greens, those type of things, is that in the diet? The problem is, I'm not saying you in particular who asked the question, Miss Gani, but you have to look at the diet. What is the child eating? Is there a lot of processed meat, a lot of hot dogs, a lot of flour in the diet? Because remember, children have to be guided accordingly as to what they should eat. I mean, a lot of parents, complain that that is what they like and they don't like this. But children, I mean, you have children who are autistic who tend to give problems to eat certain things and that type of thing. But it is my belief, and I have seen my experience with a lot of them, that with children, what you need to do is, start from young, inculcating the healthy diet, fruits and vegetables. The thing is, we have too much of snacks now, and a lot of those snacks, people think that is snacks that you can give children. Adults shouldn't even be eating those things. Worse yet, children, because of the coloring. If you don't know food coloring is poison by now, well, you have to be living under a rock, right? especially the yellow and the red coloring. Those colorings are poison. And that is not me just saying that. If you look at information, it is there as in terms of what food coloring can do to children. So that's something that you need to pay very close attention to. Okay. When we do get Santulan back in stock, Santulan is a product that children can use, and it does help to regulate bowel movement because it is a 7-channel detox that cleans and detoxify kidney, colon, bloodstream, liver, lymphatic system, skin, and your lungs. Very important. Ms. Marge Hill says, good night, Dr. B and all. Uh, do you have inflammation formula and eye optics stock in St. James office? We do have eye optics formula. We do not have inflammation formula as yet. That we should have by the end of next week, please God. We would have inflammation formula. Ms. Vidya Abdul says, good evening, all late in the house. Nevertheless, it's always a pleasure to have you. Miss Nita Cooper says, good night, doctor. I carry my in-laws and husband to do a blood analysis in Debe branch. Miss Ramdan, shout out to her. She is an amazing doctor. Very well pleased. Okay, I'm very glad to hear that. Let me say, of course, I say a pleasant good evening to all our consultants, Ms. Karishma Ramdan, Mr. Paul Green, Mr. Rene Bastamante, Mr. Stefan Vialva, and all the other hardworking team at Batson and Associates, our front desk staff, administration, everyone working hard. Let me see, Miss Marshall, Mr. Wilson, working assiduously to get our products. Believe me, we have some challenges, but we, as I said, we're getting it done. It's just a matter of people being effective and efficient in what they're doing, right? And that's something that we're having a problem with. And we have complained to the relevant authorities, and it is being dealt with. Okay, so bear with us, as I said. We're gonna be worth the wait, because you all know at Batson Associates we carry an excellent brand of products. We carry an excellent line. Myself as a formulator, I always work assiduously in trying to develop products from a nutritional perspective. My area of specialization is clinical nutrition, medical nutritionist. So it is a matter of understanding nutrition. I mean, I'm very good in internal medicine, but you have to understand the link between anatomy and physiology, the chemistry of the body, or the biochemistry of the body, and most importantly, how supplementation could actually assist in disease. Right? There's a lot of information out there, a lot of information, valuable, credible information that could help a number of individuals. And that is something that we actually bring into the fore as an organization of trained consultants. So, more great things coming, more great products coming. Restocking products that we carried before, things like a Nerve Restore, which is an amazing product, Cerebral, which is an excellent product as it relates to things like actually having to deal with your circulation to the brain, cognitive function, memory, that inflammation formula, which helps so much with joint health. A lot of persons who have, there isn't a person who used the inflammation formula and wasn't satisfied with the product. Good. So, bigger and better is coming. And that is something that we're going to do for all our clients. Let me say a pleasant good evening. Miss Sydney Hoyt, she says, big up Miss Ramdan and Mr. Bastamante. Cindy Hoyt, I remember when you came and visited us from the US. Great client. She has used so much of our products and has recommended so many persons to us as well. Miss Joycey Smith, she says, good night, Dr. Batson and team. She's from London. Pleasant good day to London in the house. You're pronouncing this name, Winsome Slocombi says, good night, Dr. B. Do you ever travel outside of Trinidad and consult with persons in the diaspora? I like that question. I do to an extent. I mean, Caribbean. I've never really been to I have done work in the United States, but I was more training, right? So that's something that we're looking at on a grander level. But of course, I just need to dot my I's and cross my T's with certain things to ensure that, we do what we need to do, how we're supposed to do it. That's very important. Miss Anissa Rahaman says, good night, Dr. Batson. Does cupping and hijama help with fibroids? It would to an extent, because it does help with improving blood circulation. But I could tell you something with fibroids. Women with fibroids, you have to understand, fibroids start small. You don't just get a big fibroid just like that. Fibroids start very small, but what fibroids are, they are a clear indication of one, hormonal disruption in the body, endocrine system malfunction, gastrointestinal problems. And, ladies, you need to mind your business. And I say that with the utmost respect for you guys. Happy belated International Women's Day to you women. And, women, we value you, our mothers, our sisters, our wives. Uh, but what we have to understand, ladies, is you need to take better care of yourself. Do a little womb cleanse. Watch your water intake. Drink a little bit of, do something to ensure that you're healthy. The problem with a lot of persons is that they are not proactive. They're not proactive. They'll wait until a lot of things and the thing is they don't even wait until it's slightly wrong. They wait until it's hella wrong, real bad, terrible, to then try and do something. And ladies, a lot of times you do get help because at Batson and Associates we are very good at what we do. But a lot of times what you all do is you wait too late. And then the doctor's telling you, listen, we have to do a hysterectomy, which is a surgical removal of your uterus and your ovaries. And ladies, let me tell you something. That is not a good thing to do. Every organ in the human body plays an important role. Every organ in the body plays a significant role. There isn't an organ that Almighty God put inside of this body that does not have a purpose and a use. And anybody who tells you otherwise, I don't care who they are dunce. They do not know what they are saying. Fully dunce. If you are in an emergency and they have to remove an organ, well, okay, good, no problem. We have no choice in the matter. You have gallstones. The gallstones are big and outrageous. They're causing problems. They block it. They're causing bile to be blocked up. You're suffering from jaundice. Your eyes getting orange. The doctor has no choice in the matter. It has to be surgically removed. But the thing is, that would not have been the first time that you had some sort of warning that you had a gallbladder problem. It's similar with kidney stones. It's similar with things like polycystic ovarian syndrome. Your body speaks to you. Your body always speaks to you. The question is, do you listen? Some of you all getting headaches since 1960, and you can't. You're just taking painkillers. Then it's because you get a stroke, and it's a bleeding stroke, and it's because you're paralyzed. If you were listening to your body telling you that there's headaches, and you went and checked yourself, you would have realized that you do not have sufficient blood flow to your brain. The blood analysis and the magnetic resonance analysis, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Let me say, Winsome Slocombi, thank you. Would definitely be in line whenever you get to Brooklyn. Okay, good. Definitely. Cindy Hoyt says, Doc, you need to do a Canada trip, please. They need me, they want me to come all over the place. But in due time, we'll get what we need to get to you guys. We're ensuring that our website, we actually revamped that entire thing, and we put in certain things in place. So in terms of access of products and good products, which are manufactured properly and that type of thing, you're going to have access to that. And we're going to have discussions. We're going to be doing it in such a way that no matter where in the world you live, you could get advice and you could actually take advantage of some of the products that we have and we offer. Good. Miss Marge Hill says, Cindy Hoyt, yes, we need him here. Hi, Doc, you were missed. That's Lorianne Forbes. Thank you so very much. Miss Nicole Vanderpool. Whoa, thanks, Doc. You're welcome. Okay, so Miss Nadia C. Stevens says, what exactly is a womb cleanse? Okay, good. I like that question. Okay, so a womb cleanse is any product or supplement that has the ability to cleanse the womb. Okay. Now there are a number of things that we have out there. There's a product that we carry called Women's Formula, right? Now, Women's Formula is not necessarily a womb cleanse, but what it does is helps the endocrine system function better. What is your endocrine system? So your endocrine system are your glands, right? So your thyroid gland, your parathyroid gland, your pituitary gland, and your adrenals basically make up your endocrine system. Now, these glands are responsible for the production of what? Hormones. What are hormones? Hormones are chemical messengers in the body. So just like, so estrogen is a hormone, insulin, hormone, progesterone, hormone, testosterone, hormone. All those are hormones. So the thing is, with women's formula, it actually corrects the endocrine system so that the endocrine system now regulates the hormonal activity, which is why all the women who come to us, when they use women's formula, they tend to get a better menstrual cycle. Now, the womb cleanse product that we have is the uterine formula. And uterine formula is a product, it's a liquid product. It's refrigerated. And what you do, you take 1 tablespoon in a glass of water first thing in the morning, and 1 tablespoon in a glass of water last thing in the evening. And what that product is designed to do is actually to help to cleanse the womb. We use it a lot with persons who have fibroids because it does work in helping to remove fibroids from the body. If you understand what fibroids really are, it also helps with cysts because a female could have a number of different types of cysts in her ovaries. You have ovarian cysts, you have Nabotian cysts, you have dermoid cysts, you have different types of cysts that women can get. Okay? Miss Sarah says, clone him for over there. He's staying right here. uh, Josie Smith says, would you be able to purchase products on Amazon in the near future? Yes, you would. Most certainly. That's actually quite a long process and a detailed process because Amazon is a very serious platform. They didn't reach where they are just like that. And they usually have to follow a lot of stringent measures, especially with the FDA. Just recently, Amazon had to remove 2 eye drops or 3 eye drops from on their site because of something that was cited by the World Health, by FDA and that type of thing. So yes, that is in the near future. It is a process because you have to dot your I's and cross your T's with these things. And then remember, you're dealing with people's credit cards and all these type of things. So yours truly do not like trouble. Believe me, we already live in a world where we have a lot of stress to deal with. I do not want to add to my stress or your stress. So we're making sure to do those things for you guys. As regards to the cost of the uterine formula, what you can do, Miss Nadia, is give us a call because I do not call price when I'm doing these types of programs. I just do think it's something fitting to do. But you can get the information or you can check out our Facebook page. We are Batson and Associates Limited on Facebook. On Instagram, we are Batson and Associates TT. You can also shoot a WhatsApp to 314-9975. That WhatsApp number again is 314-9975. And they can WhatsApp you the price and the information. Okay, Miss Stephen? Miss Nicole Vanderpool says, how do you improve blood flow to the brain? You're very welcome, Miss Stephen. Good question. Now, there are a number of ways to improve blood circulation to the brain. The first question is, how do you know that you have a problem with blood circulation to your brain? So let me give you some quick things to look for. Memory problems, short-term memory. So if you're having short-term memory issues, it means that you can now have a problem with blood circulation to your brain. You ever hear about something called vertigo? That is where you have a problem with dizziness. And vertigo is usually an indication of poor blood circulation to the brain. Now, you can also have problems with glaucoma. Usually, if you're a glaucoma patient, especially if you're somebody with very high ocular pressure in the eyes, it is an indication of poor blood circulation to the brain, limited blood circulation to the brain. So that is something you can also pay very, very close attention to. If you're getting problems with dizziness, lightheadedness, memory problems, as I mentioned, if you're getting problems with your vision, all of a sudden you're seeing like circles and lights passing before you, those are also indications of poor blood circulation to the brain, headaches, that type of thing. What can you do? Deep breathing is one. So deep breathing is actually a very, very good thing. When you're actually able to sit properly and breathe in very deep, hold the breath, exhale. So you could always look, after God is Google, we have so many things on Google and YouTube now, you could check, get some information and actually see how to do deep breathing. I'm a huge advocate of yoga, transcendental meditation and that type of thing. I believe that's things they should teach in school. These children would behave a lot better. because it really relaxes you. It really helps you to, really focus, and it really helps you to think things out. You're not really short fused as people who do not do those things. Okay, so that is one of the things. So in terms of improving it, exercise, as I said, deep breathing. There are some products that we carry at Batson Associates. Nerve Restore helps. The silver with the mineral formula also helps with that as well. Cerebral formula is also a very good product for that. The eye optics formula, which is an eye drop that we use that actually helps to clean and detoxifies the eyes. You can actually clean and detoxify the eyes, and that is something that you can actually pay attention to. So you could always give us a call or visit. Miss Nicole Vanderpool says, I have had vertigo. Yeah, and a lot of persons do have that. So when we do get that cerebral in stock, that is something that you should look forward to. The Nerve Restore, amazing, amazing product. That's a product that I tell persons, when you use it, you really see some improvement with that. Okay, Miss Nita Cooper says, Woman Formula works amazing. No pain anymore. My monthly comes every month. Works amazing. You're very welcome. This is Nita Cooper. I believe this young lady is somebody who I had seen in Debe. Very nice, young, bubbly person. I remember she came to us. She had a lot of challenges. She recommended a lot of persons to us. So thank you very much for that, because I always tell persons, being sick is not nice. And if you would have come to us, or you went somewhere and you got help, or something helped you, pass the word, spread the word. Do good and good will follow you. It doesn't help to keep things like this from yourself, because if you're not feeling well, or you have a family member that's not feeling well, your mother is not well, and someone use something and they can help you, then it's always good to share the word. What do you think? Not so? Okay. Uh, Let me, of course, say a pleasant good evening again to our social media. We are live on our social media platform. You're listening to Dr. Jason Batson, the Senior Medical Director at Batson and Associates, where we support your health naturally. I'm Interiors TT. No, I'm sorry, we do not have Santulan in stock as yet. But as I said, we apologize. Anybody who's doing business in Trinidad could tell you right now that we're having some challenges getting our stocks on time. And especially now that we're dealing with food and drug, who we working with them. We're working with them. So we are ensuring that we dot our I's and cross our T's. And once we do that, and they do what they're supposed to do, we would no longer have problems. So that is what I am working assiduously on. And when I say working assiduously, believe me, I'm working assiduously. I'm not, they attempting to give me the gray in the beard, like they wanted to come up in my hair, but that's not going to happen. You know, everything is in God's hand. And, once you do what you're supposed to do, then we will do what we need to do. Okay, guys? So I'm saying all of that to say that you will get your stuff shortly. Just bear with us. Okay, let me say again, someone is asking if we have circulation, balanced circulation in stock. Yes, we do. I know we're getting this week here, Monday, please God, we should have in those offices, Monday, Tuesday. Eye optics formula we have in stock, our alkagen water we have in stock as well. The WhatsApp number, Miss Cornelia, is 314. That's 314-9975. Again, that's 314-9975. For our international clients requesting information, requesting consultation, you can give us a call on 373. That's 373 2388. Again, that's 373 2388. You're very welcome, Miss Cornelia. As regards to costs, you can also request the information of the cost of any of our products from those WhatsApp numbers, or any of the number head office in Chaguanas. That telephone number is 222-8261. That's 222-8261. 222-8281. My apologies. That number is 222-8261. St. James is 220-8113. That's 220-8113. Davy is the corner of Ramsey Mood Trace and the SS Erie Main Road in Davy. That telephone number is 223-7515. And that WhatsApp number again is 314-9975. Okay, so let me just answer. Miss Kishona Cyrus says, my legs cramps and tingles all day and all night. It's unbearable now. I cannot wait for the help. Okay, yeah, that's poor circulation. Okay, so definitely that's something we're working on. As regards to circulation, when you're getting those pins and needles cramping your calves, burning under your feet, that is something that you can actually look at in terms of improving blood circulation. Cindy Hoyt says, Doc, can you explain the benefits of the crave again, please? Crave helps with energy. It also helps in terms of dealing with one's appetite. It also helps in terms with digestion. So that's primarily what that product works with. It also helps in terms of dealing with hormonal imbalance. So if you may have a problem with sleep, you have a problem with things like insomnia, that is also going to help in that particular area as well. Okay. So when we're talking about live nutritional blood cell analysis, and this is something that's very dear to my heart. I tell persons as a practitioner, one of the things I always pay attention to, and one of the things I always look for is a blood analysis. Now, you find a lot of persons may say that you find that you may be able to have a situation where you do not know what is wrong with you. There are a lot of persons who get sick. Remember, we are live on our social media platforms. We have Sita Singh too. We also have Josiah Cupcakes Delights. Good night. Good night. Haven't much heard from you long time, sir. Okay. In terms of Miss Jackie Sammy has also joined us as well. Yeah. So one of the things I was explaining is how does blood analysis help us to determine what is wrong in the body? And it helps significantly because we're able to see the condition of your digestive system. I mean, when you see things like undigested lipids is a clear indication that you have some serious cholesterol, triglycerides issue. Your body has a problem metabolizing fat. So that could actually show us a number of indications of why you're not losing weight. There are women who work hard. You run around the savannah, you do this, you're doing spin, you're doing fit, you're doing this, and this belly weight is not going down. So a lot of the times that has again to do with uh the blood. If you have unhealthy blood, you will be unhealthy. Blood is responsible for doing what? Transporting oxygen and nutrients. Blood touches every single organ in the body. It touches every cell. So it's obviously that if blood passes everywhere, it is obviously the most or the rightful witness. Blood tells everything. It tells past, present, and future. And that is why the blood analysis is such an effective tool in the hands of an effective practitioner like people like Mr. Bastamante, Mr. Ramdan, Mr. Green, Mr. Vialva. Of course, myself, I don't really do blood analysis. In fact, I don't do blood analysis again. And that's just because my schedule is so packed and I just do review. I mean, I do things to keep myself sharp. Because it is something that the more practice you do, of course, you would be able to retain from that practical perspective. But I mean, theoretically, you know, we know exactly, or I, have significant training and experience in that. You're talking about 14 years, right? Miss Jane Angel says, "Good night, Dr. Batson. Could Parkinson disease be reversed? How do you go about it?" I believe any disease can be reversed in the body because disease is just an indication of an imbalance. So if the body is out of balance or there's some sort of imbalance in the body, excuse me, then that in itself is a clear indication that something is wrong. And once you have a clear indication that something is wrong, you're now able to work assiduously in terms of dealing with that situation. So I suggest we do have that special with the blood analysis, that magnetic resonance analysis scan. Any test that you do, even CT scans, people bring first. And I'm not fully satisfied with that in the sense that in order to dot our I's and cross our T's, to give you the best possible help, that blood analysis and that magnetic resonance analysis needs to be done. Okay. Jane Angel says, also, when your blood is too thick, what does that mean? It means that you need to drink more water, one. Because remember, a high percentage of your human blood is plasma, and plasma is composed of a high percentage of water. I always tell people hydration is everything. If you do not drink sufficient amounts of water, you will pay the price. If you're not paying it now, you're going to pay it later in your life. and your body is not going to forgive you. Hydration is very, very, very important. Could you bathe with a cup of water? Hey guys, if you wanted to take a shower or you want to bathe, could you use this glass of water to bathe? Could you do that? No, that's virtually impossible. From the time you start to scrub this part and you start to rub muck, you don't have enough water, right? Think about the same thing when you do not drink sufficient amounts of water. And there are a lot of people walking around there who believe that by drinking other things like soft drink and coffee, that you're not doing yourself an injustice. No, you're doing yourself an injustice. You think people who get cancer just like that? I always tell people that, you know. Now, there are other things that could cause that, but I guarantee you, if you are someone who does not like water, as a man and as a woman, you are going to have problems. Breast cancer, prostate cancer. Look at those individuals. They didn't used to drink water. A lot of people say, oh, no, I drink a lot of water. No, no, you don't. Because if you're supposed to follow the rule to drink your body weight divided by 2 in ounces, it means that if you're not drinking that and excess, it means you're not drinking sufficient water. So you need to pay attention to that. Do not wait for the doctors to tell you that your kidney has gone bad because you have not drank water. Good? Okay, Cindy Fabian Waterman says, good night, doc. What would you recommend for an 18-year-old with rheumatoid arthritis? That is a rheumatoid arthritis, definitely. The inflammation formula is going to help the silver or the mineral formula. But in order for that person to get proper health, you need to have a consultation and a review done with the blood and the magnetic resonance analysis. Let us look at that body in totality, be able to gauge the amount of inflammation in the body, and then we could render the proper assistance. Okay, Lady K Royal asked the question, good evening, Dr. Batson. Is there a formula to treat dementia? Yes, there is. There is a protocol, I would say. So you may have a formula, which may be one product. A protocol is a list of products that you are given to use over a period of time. And I'll explain something just now to a number of persons. A lot of persons do not understand that when it comes to degenerative diseases, lifestyle diseases, there are, keep in mind that you remember your body heals and renews itself on a daily basis, really, you know. Waste, you have things like glycation, you have things like putrefaction, different things that take place in the body. And if you're not constantly drinking your water, constantly doing things, you know, intermittently servicing the body, then you can leave it where it gets really bad and you reach a stage where you are now in an emergency situation. And that's what a lot of persons do, and that's something that you do not want. Okay, Miss Patsy Phillips says, good night, Dr. Batson. What's the organic white tea used for? I buy one from you guys, but cannot remember what it was for. Or white tea. White tea is actually very good. White tea actually helps with pain. It is a natural pain reliever. It does help with degeneration in the body. And because of when the tea is harvested, because white tea, black tea, and green tea is basically teas that have been harvested at a particular time. And at the particular time that some of them have harvested, you find that they have particular properties at the height of the harvest. So it's usually that is something I would do some research because I can't remember off the top of my head in terms of when is harvested or what is harvested when. But green teas, for example, just recently I was talking to somebody, green tea has been scientifically proven to help with cancer because of some of the properties, the chemical properties in green tea. So, I mean, and that's one of the reasons why I'm a huge advocate of tea because of what it has the ability to do. But there are different types of teas that you can use. There are different formulations that you can use to assist persons in different ways. Okay? Miss Mira Kishra says, what causes a blood clot? Blood clots are usually caused by one, improper hydration. They can also be caused, in some cases, by medication. So women who may use birth control, if you have IUDs, which are intrauterine devices, those can actually cause blood clots. If you're a diabetic, then you are more prone to situations with blood clots. If you have poor circulation, so you may have things like deep vein thrombosis, you may have varicosis of the varicose veins. Those things can also cause blood clots as well. Good. Jane Angel says, thank you, Doc. Miss Florence Nightingale says, Dr. Batson, good night. What is the correct way to drink water? Well, actually, you're supposed to drink water sitting down, and you're supposed to sip water at a relatively, how to put it, boy, at a relatively, what's the word I want to use? In other words, you don't gobble water. So you don't just take water and just throw it down like that. You should sip, and you should sit and drink water, ideally. That is how you're really supposed to drink water. What you should keep in mind is that we live in a tropical climate. You all see how hot the place is these days? Wasa has said that there's the worst drought that they have ever seen because, of course, they're looking at different things. We also have the Sahara dust to deal with. You know, mankind is not treating the earth the way we're supposed to. As far as I'm concerned, we're mashing it up. And it's retaliating. So that's why we have all this heat. But I said that to simply say that with all this amount of heat, it means that you need to consume, obviously, what? More water. You all remember last year we had 1 or 2 persons who got heat strokes. This year, I believe we're going to get that as well. So dot your I's and cross your T's. Those of you who take care of the elderly, those of you who have elderly persons in your care, make sure that they are hydrated. I know the older ones tend to get problems to drink water, but you know, you could find a creative way in giving them additional fluids in the body during the day because this heat is really, really terrible. It is really, really terrible. So, you know, you don't want your grandmother, your granny, your grandfather, your great aunt, or anybody getting a heat stroke, please, because then they're going to have more problems to fix. So let's prevent that and ensure that they are properly hydrated. Okay, Miss Tinsdale Thomas asked the question. Good night, Dr. Batson. What would you recommend for fatty liver? First of all, if you have been diagnosed with a fatty liver, reduce your dairy. I suggest you take cheese out of the diet. Leave ice cream alone because ice cream tends to cause a number of problems, lipomas, fatty. I know I'll be, you know, a lot of persons wouldn't like me when I say this, but ice cream is not one of the healthiest things, eh? Especially, I mean, if you do a little homemade ice cream, you know, you might be a little all right. But remember, ice cream has to have a lot of preservatives in it for the shelf life that it has to have. You know, ice cream has to stay very long on a shelf, you know. So, and it also have things like stabilizers and all those type of things in it. So again, read your label. I'm a huge advocate of reading your labels and knowing what you are eating, what is inside of it. Some people might think, you know, you're being fussy and you're being, you know, overly what almost to the point of hysteria, but that's not the case. You have to understand what you are using. Read your label. The law has dictated that anyone who does anything has to present a proper label, which is going to tell you the ingredients of what you are consuming. Read your label. For every 4 grams, it is equivalent to 1 teaspoon. So if something says it has 20 grams of sugar, it means it has 5 teaspoons of sugar per serving in that drink. Would you drink it? That's the question you need to ask yourself. All right. Miss Florence Nightingale says, confirmation. Thank you, Dr. Batsy. You're welcome. B. You're welcome. My apologies. Miss Royal Penny, Lady K. She says, thank you. You're very welcome. Miss George asked the question. Good night, Dr. Batson. I would like to know if a person could be allergic to, I think it's iodine you want to say there. I think this is something they put on their body when they do surgery. Okay, now that's something I'm going to have to look at and get back to you in terms of the spelling of that word. Because I don't think it's iodine you wanted to say, right? So I'm going to check that out for you. So I'm going to note that and I'm going to answer you subsequently. So next Sunday, I'm going to answer that because I'm not too really sure as regards to the word. Clarify that word for me, Miss George. Okay. Lenora Lovell Brooks says, good evening. Can fatty muscles be corrected? Well, the thing is, if you have, there is no such thing as fatty muscle. The thing is, you have muscle or you have fat. the thing is, if you have fat covering your muscle, which is exactly what a lot of persons have, especially in the stomach area, then you need to do things to get rid of the fat. But muscle is muscle. You can't have fatty muscles, right? Miss Onika says, Mr. Batson, another condition came across with my dad is retinal detachment in one eye and glaucoma. The eye optics formula does help with that. When you're dealing with retinal detachment, usually they give you injections for that. I am a bit cautious as regards to the injection. But you have to be very careful, especially if you're dealing with a diabetic patient. So someone who has serious detached retina, it means they have serious inflammation in the eyes, they have serious poor circulation in the cerebral hemisphere, which is here, the brain. So it means that you need to correct those things from the foundation in order to get that situation to be corrected. That's something that you need to pay very, very close attention to. Okay. Miss Florence Nightingale, she says, "Do you save your lives, Dr. Batson?" Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We do save our lives, and they're actually there on our Facebook as well. You can actually go in there and listen to some of them, see them, share them, like them, that type of thing. Miss Melinda Tucson says, "Good night, Dr. Batson. What would you recommend for iron deficiency anemia? Anemia, rather." Oh, that's a very good question. Um, People who have any form of anemia, which is usually okay, well, you have different type. Well, in this particular case, you identify the anemia, which is iron deficiency anemia. Let me just add a little bit to it. The thing is, when you're looking, you have different types of anemia because your blood is comprised of many different aspects. They look at your MVP, they look at your whole blood, they look at your CBC, they look at your white blood cell count. Then they can actually look at the white blood cells in terms of the white blood cells, in terms of the white blood cell percentage. So things like eosinophils, basophils, neutrophils, those type of things, right? So if your person is iron deficient, I wouldn't recommend an iron supplement. What I would recommend is a nutrient dense supplement or a whole food. So it means you're looking at things like CMOS. You're looking at things like there's a product we carry called inflammation formula. Advanced chlorophyll is the next product that helps significantly as well. So with those products, you're actually able to build the blood from ground level or the base level, which is what you want. Most people who have any sort of things like thalassemia, people who have sickle cell trait and those type of things, they would have green deficiency. They did not get proper greens, or their parents didn't have proper greens, and hence the reason they passed on those traits to them. But I always tell persons, there's a saying we have in natural medicine: genetic loads the gun, but what lifestyle pulls the trigger. So it's very, very important to really pay attention to those things. Genetic load the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. Very, very important. Okay, guys? Um, Miss Oh, okay, good. She said she was okay. I was told it is iodine. Is it something red that you place on your body before surgery? Okay. My phone is giving me some problems here. So as long as I could quickly go online and look. When I say look, to see what the substance is, because I know a lot, but I don't know everything. So that is something that I could always check. And as I said, I would be able to answer you next week, please God. Okay, Ms. Pam Powell says, good evening. Can kidney stones be broken down naturally? Yes, they can. Keep in mind when you're dealing with kidney stones, there are different types of stones that you usually have, right? You have calcium stones, you have magnesium stones, you have uric acid stones, and you also have combination stones. So a lot of times when you're dealing with kidney stones, it depends on the kind of stone that it is. But yes, kidney stones can be broken down naturally and pass out the body, which is what you want. I tell persons, you always want to do something that is non-invasive, something that doesn't cause problems in the body. Okay. Onika says, Dr. Batson, circling back to the hip detachment question. Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that question, my dear. Sorry to nag about it, but mommy is nagging me to ask if you can provide treatment for it. Hip detachment. Yeah. We could do, because clarify something for me. Okay, is hip degeneration. Okay, yes, we can work on that and we can correct it quickly. but it needs to be, we need to look at the blood analysis, we need to do the magnetic resonance analysis. If the person is already a client of ours, well, then you just come in for a consultation and we update your records and then we go from there. But definitely degenerative hip can be helped. We're also very good with persons who have problems with the knee. I am not an advocate of knee replacement surgery at all, because that mechanical knee is going to start to give you problems 10 years after. And if you feel you have pain now, well, wait until it is finished and wait until some time pass. Always try your best to deal with those things naturally. It is only when you leave things to reach to the point of an emergency, then doctors like myself cannot help you, because you have waited for it to reach to the point where you have to go and deal with emergency doctors. And that's a different type of medicine. That is when you're going to have to take the antibiotics, you're going to have to take the blood thinners, you're going to have to take the injection, you're going to have to take the drips, because you are in a emergency state. The physical body requires all the attention. Afterwards, we could deal with supramental and vital and energy body and that type of thing. But in an emergency, you have to take your medication. Take it and take it in the doses that you get it, because you have waited, or God forbid, the situation has reached the state of being just that, an emergency. Okay? Miss Imagine Hanaway says, what do you recommend for menopause? Women's Formula is a very good product for menopause. There is a product that we carry, the silver with the mineral formula, also good for that as well. We will be getting back female balance very shortly. That was one of my favorite products. That product has helped every female who came to us who had a problem with procreating and had a problem with fertility. That was one of the products that helped them, because it is a product that works in totality with women, especially as it relates to helping them in the state or dealing with things like menopause. Okay, so that's something that you could pay very, very close attention to. Okay, Miss Brenda Turpin says, good evening, Dr. Batson. Can osteoporosis be reversed? What can I use to reverse it? Definitely you can. When you're looking at osteoporosis, you look at the density of the bones. So your bones are comprised of magnesium, calcium, and phosphorus in the form of, no, it's calcium, sorry, magnesium. Let's now let me make sure I get it. It's calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus in the form of calcium phosphate, right? So it means that if your body is severely acid, you're going to end up with osteoporosis, because what the body is actually trying to do, excuse me, is actually take out calcium from the bones, because it's trying to neutralize the acidic situation. So people who have bad problems with acid reflux, you always have bloating, you always have gas, you're always belching, you always have problems with acid reflux or acidosis, lactic acidosis, you can now end up with osteoporosis. Yes, it can be reversed. What I would recommend, as I said, the silver, the mineral formula. Inflammation formula is a very, very good product. And that's something that we'll be getting shortly again. So what I would suggest you do is come in for a consultation, because with things like that, I like to deal with them quickly, because you don't want somebody with osteoporosis. Mr. Turpin, you don't want, if you're asking for yourself, you don't want to fall, because God forbid, if you fall, then they're going to have to do surgery on you, because your bones are going to be too weak to take that fall. And, you're going to end up in a kind of Humpty Dumpty situation, which I'm sure you do not want to end up in. Okay? Mr. Nisa Rahman says, do you have any idea when next you'll be having your health fairs? Yes, we do. Our health fairs would be starting from next month, which is April, and we're going to be telling you where and areas and that type of thing. Okay, we did one in Debe, Southland. We have to do our next one in the Southland. We also have to do one up in North. We have to do one in Central. We have to do one in Tobago. So we have not forgotten you guys. Okay, so just stay tuned to that. Remember to like us, to follow us, to share us. We are Batson and Associates Limited on Facebook. On Instagram, we are Batson and Associates TT. On YouTube, we are Batson and Associates Trinidad. And on TikTok, we are Batson and Associates. Okay. Michelle Kerr Douglas says, what is recommended? What is the recommended course of action for polycystic ovaries and extremely painful periods? Michelle Kerr, what I'll tell you, women's formula will help. Hydration. When you have to look at how much water you are drinking. Remember, people of Trinidad and Tobago, everyone who's listening on this live regionally, internationally, take my advice. Water, clean, unadulterated water. You need to drink water. There's a book. You all could go and search for that book. You are not sick, you are just thirsty. Read that, and you will see something. When I always, well, making noise with people for drinking water, it's not because I just feel to open my mouth and make noise, because I find it so hard to believe why people, well, especially adults, would think that they could not drink water and be healthy. I mean, that is just, I mean, plain talk, bad manners. That is being ridiculous. It's nonsensical. It just does not make sense. How do you expect to have healthy hair, healthy skin, healthy eyes, healthy teeth, healthy bones if you are dehydrated? When your body is 70% water. You understand what I'm saying? 70% water. You didn't even have to be good in maths to understand what that means. Good, guys? Miss Royal Penny says, good evening, Dr. Batson. If you have genetic DVT, how long should you take blood thinners? The thing is, okay, so people who have DVTs who may have a situation where the clotting factor is, you tend to clot faster than the average person, then what it means, you need to take better care of yourself. And when I say that, I don't mean to be condescending in any way, but take better care of yourself. Remember this statement: genetic loads the gun, lifestyle is going to pull the trigger. And DVT can be treated naturally because you do not want to be taking blood thinners for extended periods of time, especially warfarin. Any good doctor will tell you that warfarin it is a blood thinner that has been used, but it has been a lot of lawsuits have been given because of that product, because of what it does to the body. Because when you are on warfarin, you cannot use greens. And if you know anything about anatomy and physiology, if you know anything about nature, you will understand that greens is one of the foundation of the human body. A human body that does not have greens in it is not a healthy body. That is how people end up with iron deficient anemia and thalassemia and sickle cell and all these type of things that people have. It is because of green deficiency or the lack of nutrient dense. What is nutrient dense foods? Foods that are dense in nutrients, selenium, magnesium. Are you aware of how much minerals is found in the human body? You all know how much? About 101, somewhere around there. Manganese, magnesium, zinc, copper, potassium. If you do not have these in sufficient amounts in your body, you are in deficiency. And if you have deficiencies, then you're going to be in problems. Always remember that. Okay, it is now 8:46, so we're very close to bringing our program to an end. We have a lot of questions coming in here. No Name Noel says, hello, Doc from Canada. Hello. Miss Anissa Rahman says, great, thanks, looking forward. That is our health lectures that we're going to be doing, our health symposiums. We have not forgotten you all. No Name Noel is no Nerve Restore. Are they available? Not as yes, Mr. Noel. I know you're asking, boss man, but bear with us. We're getting it shortly. As I said, we're working very hard on these people in Trinidad and Tobago who, you know, I don't want to say anything that I'm not supposed to say, but we're working assiduously to get those things done for you. All right. Miss Penny says, what about the use of blood thinners such as Eliquis and Clexine? Well, Eliquis and Clexine, that's the reason why they did those, because those are better in the sense that you can use greens, but at the same time, remember, you want to be able to deal with that situation in such a way that you do not become dependent on these things for extended periods of time. Because if you look at the research, and even the doctor could tell you, if you use these things for a very long time, a lot of the times you have problems bleeding in the back of your eyes. You have problems with some people were bleeding in the intestines because of the extended use of all these blood thinners. Okay, Ms. Brenda Turpin says, I don't live in Trinidad. Can you recommend what I need to get? Someone is coming up. They can get it for me. Okay, Ms. Turpin, do me a favor. I know someone, I don't know if it's you. I was supposed to call someone recently. It was left on my desk, but because of the time I finished work, I was not able to do it. So I plan to do it on Monday, please God. So I don't know if it is you if you are the individual, but either way, you can message us on our WhatsApp for international clients, which is 868-373-2388. Again, that's 868-373-2388. Okay? Miss Desiree Villafana, circulation tea. Yes, my darling, I know you're waiting on that. That we are getting very shortly. Our circulation tea together with the circulation regeneration and our advanced circulation, which is the liquid circulation. The circulation product that we have in stock, God's willing, is actually balanced circulation. Very good. Miss Turpin said, no, it is not her. Okay, no problem. Miss Lizelle Brereton says, good evening to you. Oh, Tish W said it's her, it's me. Okay, my dear. So I will have that address for you on Monday, please God. Shaz has not joined us there. So guys, again, keep in mind those telephone numbers and locations. We are located on the first floor of Money Talks building. That is Money Talks building in Montrose, Chaguanas. That telephone number for Chaguanas again is 222-8261. It's 222-8261. St. James is 220-8113. That's 220-8113. Debe is the corner of Ramsonwood Trace and the SS Erin Main Road in Debe. That number for Debe is 223-7515. Tobago is the Triangle Building in Scarborough, Tobago. That number for Tobago is 226-4553. And you can also WhatsApp us on 314-9975. Mr. Simon Thomas said, I had a blood clot last year. Doctor said I should take aspirin for a year, but I stopped because I don't think it's wise. What should I use instead? It's Simone, my apologies, Thomas. The circulation, again, there are a number of things out there that you can use for circulation naturally that could help your blood circulation. The balanced circulation is an excellent product. That product, actually, we have a lot of testimonies with persons who use that product and it helps significantly with blood clots. And it was a natural product, so they didn't have any side effects. I think blood thinners have too many side effects, especially when you look at the abuse, because that's the problem, you know. If you put on medication for a period of time and your problem is corrected, that's all well and good. But when you do not take into consideration your diet ethics, exercise, proper hydration, then, as the old people say, you're spinning top in mud, because you have to again address the root cause of the problem. Okay, guys? So that is something that you could use. The balanced circulation, Miss Thomas, the advanced circulation as well, circulation regeneration tea, but that we do not have in stock. But as I said, you can make sure and call, let them get your name, the product that you want, and as soon as we get it, we'll ensure that we have it in stock for you. Miss Anissa Rahman says, with the month of Ramadan very soon for Muslims, any tips for pre-diabetics? Well, yes, definitely. The thing is, with Ramadan, and I have a lot of Muslim clients. One of the things I always tell persons, I do not get, how to put it, but I do not get involved in, in terms of the religious aspect of what people do from their religious perspective. I respect everyone's belief and everyone's religion. What I would say is that you have to be careful. Fasting is something, we know a lot of people fast for religious perspectives as well, right? And that is something as I said, I respect. However, you have to ensure that you as an individual are healthy enough in order to do certain fasts, because there are some fasts, depending on the health concerns that you have, like diabetes and hypertension, you can actually make yourself sicker and you can end up in an emergency room. So, that is between you, but from a practical perspective and from the perspective of anatomy and physiology, you need to ensure that you are healthy to do certain fasts, especially, and as I said again, this is no disrespect, but it's just, advice, especially the fast, because remember, with the fast that Muslims do a fast where they do not drink water as well, and that fast is a serious fast. Good, guys? So make sure to dot your I's and cross your T's. Make sure you have clearance from your doctors, because you don't want to do a fast and then you end up in more problems. And that is not only to the Muslim community, but anyone who does fasting. Okay, guys? You want that experience to be a safe experience for you and your family members. Okay, guys? Nicole Vanderpool says, what supplement do you carry with 100 plus minerals that we need? CMOS. CMOS is one. There are others, and we have some new stuff coming. But definitely, I'm a huge advocate of CMOS. Huge advocate, and that is something again we're going to be getting a lot of. We're going to have some different kinds for you guys, because we like to spice up the thing to ensure that you get, of course, quality and value for the money that you spend. Okay, guys. Miss Susan Murray says, can cayenne pepper be used for circulation? Yes, it can be, but you have to ensure that you get the correct cayenne pepper, because there's a particular, not all cayenne pepper is the same. There's a lot of things that people do understand. Next week, I could give you guys some information on that. That is something that Batson Associates is also going to be adding to our protocols and our arsenal of the stocks that we have and the supplements that we carry for our clients. Good, guys. Tish says anytime after 3 p.m. is good. Okay, good. I'm going to ensure that that is done. So, guys, you have been listening to Dr. Jason Batson, the Senior Medical Director at Batson and Associates, and this has been our live for today, Sunday, the 10th of March, our question and answer. And of course, we'll very soon be resuming our lives on Sky 99.5, which is usually on a Sunday morning. But God's willing, that's going to be from next month. We are still with 103.1 FM. That program is on a Thursday from 11:05 to 11:25 a.m. And of course, we'll be resuming with DJ Mamu Radio on djmamuradiott.com. And that program is going to be resuming from 2:15 to 3:15 on a Thursday. Okay, guys? Let me, of course, give you those telephone numbers again for Chagonas. The number for Chagonas is 2228261, as well as St. James is 2208113. That's 2208113. Debe is the corner of Ramsey Trace and the SS Erin Main Road in Debe. That telephone number for Debe is 2237515. That's 2237515. Keep in mind, we do have that special with our live blood analysis, magnetic resonance analysis. We also have our pensioner special as well, guys, because you have to take care of the pensioners. Very important. Tobago, we have not forgotten you. We are assiduously working on getting that Tobago office up to its full capacity, as well as our office in Londonville. Okay, guys, so it's always a pleasure to be in your company. You have been listening to Dr. Jason Batson, remember, the Senior Medical Director at Batson and Associates, where we support your health naturally. Again, for the products that we may not have in stock as yet, we do apologize, guys, but we're working assiduously. Believe me, it's not our fault. But we doing what we need to do to get what we need to get done. Okay, guys? Tish says, hi, no, Dr. B. If you can call me tonight, it's good too. Grandson coming back in 2 days. No, I'll do tomorrow, please God, for you. Okay, guys, again, those telephone numbers and locations. First floor, Money Talks building, Montrose, Chagonas. That number again is 2228261. That's 2228261. Debe is the corner of Ramsey Trace and the SS Erie Main Road in Debe. That number for Debe is 2237515. That's 2237515. Our international clients, you can get that number again. For the international number is 1868 3660180. Again, that number is 3660180. Of course, Trinidad's area code 868. And again, our WhatsApp for our Trinidad offices, that WhatsApp is 314-9975. Again, that's 314-9975. You have been listening to Dr. Jason Batson, the Senior Medical Director at Batson and Associate, where we support your health naturally. Ms. Brenda Turpin, Ms. Marge Hills, Ms. Nicole Vanderpool, Uta Young, thank you very much, Ms. Pam Powell, and everyone else who has joined us on the live, Ms. Desiree Villafana. God bless you guys. Mr. James, James Bond, boy, what? Dr. Batson, when is your next session on diabetes? I have a few questions. Well, the thing is, Next program, we could discuss diabetes. Actually, next Sunday, we will discuss diabetes, so you could ask your questions at that time. So remember, guys, as we always say at Batson and Associates, if you think health is expensive, try sickness. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. God bless you guys. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. Be safe. Until next week. Remember, you can join us for our Thursday program that is on 103.1 FM with the lovely Karen. And that program is Thursday. If you guys are able to join, that is from 11:05 to 11:25. And we also have WhatsApp questions and whatnot on that program. We also join DJ Mamu on djmamuradio.tt.com. That program is from 2:15 to 3:15 on a Thursday. And of course, Sky 99.5 will be starting that, God's willing, from next month, please God. And that is going to be a Sunday morning program. So take care, guys. God bless. Be safe. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. Take care. Uh, Let me just answer this question quickly from Ms. Carol's thought. Good night, doctor. My husband's right hand is shaking really bad. What could be causing it? There's something known as tremors. People shaking really bad. And that's usually an indication of a central nervous system problem. It could also be an indication of deficiency in the body. Uh, there's a product we carry at Batson and Associates called the silver with the mineral formula. Also, that nutrient dense greens, the wheatgrass, which has the grass together with the roots. I like that particular one. That could also help as well. But you could also reach out, to our office, Ms. Stewart, and you could get some additional information, or you could actually bring in for a consultation. Okay, guys, take care. God bless, and have a good evening again. Bye bye.